Okay, perfect. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Right now?
Yeah, we can see it. It's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for inviting me tonight, today for you. It's an honor to be here with you, get to know you and speak with you, talk about this topic, which is actually a passion of mine. So this is how I have named this session, Cross-Cultural Communication and Globalization. How does it work in education? Especially, I'm going to talk about how does it work in Colombia. So first, I'm going to talk about myself. I want you guys to get to know me a little bit more. I am Ana Maria Camargo. I am a 30-something Colombian, born and raised in Bogota. Bogota is the capital of my country. Colombia is located in South America, right next to Brazil, which is the main referent. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I actually love psychology, but I don't practice it. During my educational years, I discovered that I like to study psychology, but I prefer to practice in different areas, which is what I'm going to talk about today. But also I will explain you how psychology has helped me in this international educational field. I also have a master's degree in cross-cultural communication from Newcastle University. I have lived in England twice. Once when I first graduated from the bachelor's degree, I went to study English. And then a couple of years later, I went back to study the master's degree. And I think that these living abroad situations also helped me shape my professional career, as well as the next experience that I put here in the list, which is that I was a host family for a Thai student.
Dosen iki man, aku ngerti apa nggak ngerti bahasa Inggris.
Oh, sorry, there was an.
Siapa ya yang tadi di Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, you can continue.
Thank you. So also receiving a person from a different country in my house with my family was also a different way to get to know another culture, a different way to live internationalization without leaving my country. I also have been a volunteer in different NGOs. I think that volunteering activities are key for my personal development. I enjoy it a lot. I am passionate about intercultural communication, everything intercultural, getting to know different cultures, religions, different ways of living life is basically what I'm most passionate about. I also love studying. I never stop learning. And I'm also passionate about learning about personal development, every day improving myself. And right now, my current role, professional role, is the Mobility and Research Coordinator at a university in Colombia that is called Juan Corpas. That is the name of the founder. And this is a very special university because it is mainly focused on health-related careers, such as medicine and nursing. So most of my job is related to answer this question, how to get doctors and nurses to move abroad, to have these experiences abroad. And especially during the pandemic, this one has been a very big challenge. Okay, so I'm gonna start also with this quote from the Organization for Economic and Cooperation Development. I think this organization is crucial in my field. I will take a moment just to read it. It says cross-border flows of ideas, students, faculty, and financing, coupled with developments in information and communication technology, are changing the environment for higher education. This implies both increased collaboration and competition between countries and institutions on a global scale. I think this is basically what the globalization of education is. It is not only moving students to different countries, but it's also how we, as higher education institutions, can help to create, for example, new research ideas, create different projects that have impact in vulnerable communities. So we have to look at the bigger picture and see how our international and cooperation partnerships can affect and have a greater impact on students' development, but also in the surrounding communities of the institution. I think this is one of our duties as higher education officers. And also, in order to fulfill this goal, it stands intercultural communication. Without these competencies that help us to communicate and behave effectively and appropriately with people from different backgrounds, globalization wouldn't be possible. At least this is my opinion. We have to know how to communicate appropriately, not only, for example, using perfect English, but how to be understood and also how to feel the other person understood. And basically, how do I say this? Sorry. As you can see, my English is not perfect, which this happens quite often during these international situations. But as you can see, how we can make the other person and the other communities feel comprehended, understood, and how not to, for example, maybe offend the other person. So international relations are quite exciting, but we should also be very careful about how we communicate with each others. Okay, so I'm going to talk about international education and globalization during these 4 areas. I have divided my current role and also international education in Colombia in these 4 main areas, which are national and international mobility, research, transferable skills-based projects, and intercultural education. So I'm going to talk about all 4 of them and give you some examples of how we do it in this university. So mobility is basically when a student or a professor spend a time abroad or within the same country in a different city, and they conduct different academic activities for a specific period of time. This area or this activity is the most common within international education. And as an international officer, I provide support to students before, this means before their time abroad. So for example, preparing all the documents, requirements, even provide some tips about life abroad. Also during their time abroad or during the program for international students at my university and our Colombian students abroad. And then after the program, we also support them in order to, for example, to readapt to the culture, to follow up with all the academic duties. So this is support, like a holistic support. And also it's important to create partnerships with other institutions in order to create new programs that meet the academic goals for students and also the academic needs from the institution. So this role requires, well, working with basically the whole university and other institutions. So for example, right now we have 2 nursing students living in Spain, in Barcelona. And this is a very big deal for us right now because they are the first students from the nursing program, our university, doing this type of programs, because the nursing school is quite new. So we had to search for other nursing institutions in different countries that had a similar academic program in order for students to do their practical part of the program. So they are in the clinics and the hospitals working with the patients. So this is very fascinating and also important because during the pandemic, most of the medical schools and nursing schools around the globe didn't have the chance to do this mobility. And even when the borders were open again, international borders, medical and nursing students weren't able to move abroad because they had to do this type of programs in hospitals. And because of COVID-19, they had no permission to do this. So this was a big challenge for us, trying to do international activities, but virtually. Even, as I said, even if the borders were open, because unfortunately for medical and nursing school, basically health sciences is quite challenging even 2 years after the pandemic. So this basically is what is national and international mobility. Now, research. This is also very passionate and fascinating because one of our goals is to find other institutions and researchers that would like to join our current research projects and conduct joint research projects and publications. So this requires for researchers to maybe speak another language, have intercultural competencies in order to work with researchers from different cultures and understand each other in order to fulfill the project's goals. This also requires the mobility of researchers internationally in order to work together, maybe go to field and collect data, analyze this data. So we also do this type of mobility. We also look for and research for funding opportunities. So maybe other organizations that will finance these projects and basically like provide this opportunity for researchers to move abroad for a period of time and conduct the research. And also look for the opportunity for our institution to participate in research networks, even international or national networks. So this year in June, we had the opportunity to bring to our institution a student from Mexico, and she joined one of the research projects, and it was fascinating to have her in this project. She did these research activities such as collecting data, analyzing the data, but also writing part of the paper, and also presented at an important academic symposium. And this project was very relevant because this belonged to a Latin American network. So the student had the chance to travel because of the funding provided by this network, and it provided a new vision for the project. Even though she was a student, she provided her vision, personal and professional vision, to the project, and the researchers were so open to receive her feedback and receive her ideas that it actually made the project better. So I really believe that students have the power to conduct relevant and important research, and this research is being published. So this is how international research can have a big impact, not only on students, but also on the institution. Now, this is one of my favorite projects and areas at my job, which are the transferable skills-based projects. So these projects are interdisciplinary. We conduct maybe different courses or semester-long projects in which students will learn different skills and different, maybe they will have contact with the productive sector, and they will get the chance before graduating to get to know how is the professional field and how do other professionals apply their knowledge to real life situations. So for example, we conduct projects focused on the Sustainable Development Goals and global competencies. And we provide these projects in order for students to have contact with vulnerable communities and the productive sector, as I said. We also do these projects with other institutions because in this field it's very important to have different allies and partnerships. So for example, yesterday we finished a project about social enterprising. So students from 5 different institutions from any type of career, there were psychologists, engineers, also administrators, nurses, from any type of career that you think about. We had students from all of these careers, and they were paired in groups, interdisciplinary groups, and they had a challenge. They had to provide solutions to a social enterprise project. So these were projects, real life projects that are managed and created by alumni from the institutions. And during 4 weeks, students learned about innovation, creativity, financing, social enterprise, how to also create a new project, and they had to present these solutions to the real life challenges that these enterprises were having. And it was fascinating. Yesterday, a student from psychology was saying, at first I had no idea what to do, but now I have all these tools, all these skills, all this knowledge, and it is fascinating. Sorry. And so this is what we do. We provide projects for students to get to know how the real world works outside of their profession. Sorry, last but not least, we have intercultural education. This is very important because we provide intercultural training for students who are going to live abroad. So we not only provide support about documents and requirements, but also about intercultural education. Maybe, for example, if you are a victim of a microaggression or of a stereotype, how can you react about it? How can you be assertive? How can maybe you educate others about the situation? How to behave if you don't understand an interaction with another person, what's going on. So it's very important for us to train our students and provide tools in order for them to be effective and appropriate communicators. We also provide we promote these intercultural competences and attitudes because for our institution, my institution, sorry, it's important, very important, how we treat others with empathy, with compassion, with service. So this is, intercultural competencies are basically this. And we also foster intercultural learning without international mobility, because at my university, some students come from low-income families, which makes it very hard for them to move abroad. So we bring the world to the campus. We try to have a globalized campus with different activities in order for them to get to know different cultures, different ways of living, different ideas, and in order for them to get to know what is internationalization without living abroad. I also wanted to talk about the skills needed to work in this field. Maybe you think, well, she's a psychologist, why is she working in this field? And it's because of the skills that are needed. Maybe it doesn't matter your profession, but it does matters that you are good at these competencies. So for example, client service, this skill is crucial because we are always interacting with students who have many questions, students who have different issues. So we have to provide the best service in order to help them to fulfill their educational goals through international education. Also intercultural competencies, because we are always interacting with people from different countries and different cultures. As I said, we are the ones, like the bridge between the students and the other institution. So we are constantly communicating with peers from different countries, with students from different countries, with researchers from different countries. So we have to be good at communicating across cultures. Also adaptability, because this field changes all the time. For example, during the pandemic, that, for example, all the flights were canceled, all the activities were online, and some students have to move back to their home country. Or for example, a student of mine recently was denied the visa. So this is a situation that is totally out of our hands, but we have to adapt and solve it, which leads me to the next skill, which is problem solving. There are constantly many challenging situations going on, and we have to be very resourceful in order to find the best solution for the student and for the institution. So in this case, when the visa was denied, we called the embassy. We asked about when can she apply and why was the visa denied. And according to these answers, we were able to develop an action plan. Unfortunately, she applied again, her visa was accepted, and now she is doing her academic program abroad. And also teamwork, because we constantly work with other people from the same institution. And if we conduct projects with other institutions, we have to cooperate all the time, be able to negotiate, be able to communicate, be able to solve problems as a team and not as an individual. And basically be a people person. I call it like this because during all day long, we are communicating with others, whether it's students or colleagues, everybody. So we have to be able to communicate with other people, but also like to engage in conversations with other people. Sometimes we even have to make the first move in order to contact an institution that we want to make a partnership with. So we have to be able to talk with the colleagues, call them, write an email without feeling embarrassment. So this is, for me, these are the main skills. And I'm gonna tell you a case. I'm gonna share with you a recent case that we had in our institution. I'm gonna give you some context. So we are all working virtually. Some students go to the university, they attend some classes at campus, but also virtually. So it's a mixed method between virtual and presence. And during this past month, we launched 4 different calls for students in order for them to participate in international mobility programs and these social enterprise projects that I was talking about previously. So we launched the call, we published it on social network because we have official social networks from the university, and we also sent emails to students. We realized that we weren't receiving many answers from students. They weren't responding to the call. So we asked for teachers, professors to support us. And they forwarded these emails, and they also provided us 10 minutes of their class in order to talk to the students, present the projects. But still, we were not receiving students' applications. And this was very strange for us because at least 2 of these projects are being financed for them. They don't have to, how do I say this, how to put money, because everything is going to be financed for them. So this has been a very big challenge. And at first we thought that maybe students were not interested, maybe students were not motivated by this type of programs. So we started to research a little bit more, look the situation with more detail, and we found 2 main reasons. The first reason is that most of our students are afraid of speaking English. Some of them speak English, others don't, and the ones who do are embarrassed about their language skills. They are afraid of the language, and this has been a general situation at campus, because as I said before, most of our students come from low-income families, which means that their education during the school years did not include English. This is a situation that happens within the Colombian educational minister and the educational sector in general. The teaching of English is not good or it doesn't exist. So our students are afraid, and this is one of the reasons, because most of these projects imply and require for students to speak English. And the other factor, the other reason that we found is that they are also afraid of living abroad. They have never lived the country, or they have never lived in different cities. This is a general feeling. They don't think it's important, or they don't think it's useful. Some students even think it's a waste of time. So as the international office of the institution, we must work not only in creating the projects, creating the programs, but also creating an international culture within the campus and providing this personal support to students in order for them to feel confident, comfortable about not only their language skills, but in general, their participation in the projects and the programs. So here is where also psychology plays a big role. How do I empathize with students? How do I understand their situations and create solutions? Not judgments, but solutions. How do I help students? How do I support them? And how do we create this general culture and let them know that internationalization is a tool for them in order to maybe strengthen their CVs. It's also a way of personal development, maybe also acquire new skills. So in a campus that is not, that internalization is not very generalized, this is the main challenge, not also creating the programs, but also creating the international culture. Okay, so this is my presentation. Thank you very much. Gracias. I hope I wrote I wrote the, how do I say thank you in your language properly. I apologize if it's not. So now if you have questions, I'm here to answer them.
Gracias, Ana. Thank you so much. And it's perfect the way you say, you put the words terima kasih. It's just the way it is. Can you stop the share screen so we can put you on spotlight? Okay. Okay, wait a second. Okay. Untuk teman-teman yang ada pertanyaan, bisa silahkan di chat ya, atau yang mau open mic. Pertanyaan pertama saya rasa datang dari Bu Siva ya. Ada Bu Siva hari ini di sini. So we're actually having another lecturer coming for your class, Anna. So apparently your class is highly interested by the faculty. Miss Siva, apakah masih ada di room?
Halo Mbak Oktif.
Okay.
Halo Anna.
Okay.
Hi, hello.
Hi, I'm Siva. It's really great to listen to your presentations, and it is very interesting. And I also, Mbak Oktif, I have several questions for Anna.
Great.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it is a perfect morning. It is a perfect question to start the morning. So I think from what you share about the opportunities and also the international collaborations in your university, I think it is a great opportunities to every students to participate in the program. And I think maybe our beloved students want to know about the requirements. What is the requirements to participate in such kind of the programs? If I were students, I said, okay, I want to participate in this in the program. I want to come to your university, and for the negotiations is maybe as an international relation officers, maybe you notice if there are any obstacle that faced by students, by the international students who participate in international programs, because as an international student also, I was at the end when I was in Australia, I was very struggling to it is not only in academic side, but also a personal and psychological side, because at that time I also bring my family with baby. It is very hard time at the beginning, but with the help of my circle, my friends, and also from the university, I can okay, it's getting smooth and smoother. But I realized maybe the obstacle is different from country to country. So I just want to know if maybe you notice what kind of obstacle that usually students face in your university, and how the campus facilitate the student to overcoming the problems. Maybe we can learn, maybe UPN Active can learn from that, because UPN also want to we have new
Accreditation.
Yes, international accreditation here
From the
and
UK.
so yeah, so we have we should facilitate us a lot of international programs. Thank you, Anna, and sorry for the very long questions.
No.
Thank you, Miss
It's totally
Eva.
fine.
Anna, before you answer,
Okay.
the question is very important, so I just want to translate it to Bahasa so that the students can understand, because the question is also related to the students. Oke, teman-teman, saya mau translate untuk pertanyaan dari Bu Siva ya, karena ini sangat penting. Jadi, Bu Siva tadi menanyakan ada beberapa pertanyaan, tapi pertanyaan pertama highlight-nya adalah apa saja sebenarnya persyaratan ya untuk mahasiswa ketika mau join international program. Kemudian khususnya untuk di Juan Corpas University ya, teman-teman. Kemudian yang kedua, hambatan apa saja yang Ana temukan di Juan Corpas University untuk international students, karena memang biasanya international students ini teman-teman tidak hanya struggling di akademis ya, tapi juga ada di emosional, psikologikal, karena memang dari segi budaya, kemudian cara belajarnya juga berbeda. Jadi Ana setelah ini akan sharing ya bagaimana case-nya Ana di universitasnya dan bagaimana kita bisa belajar dari hal tersebut, karena jurusan ilmu komunikasi sekarang sudah terakreditasi FIBA ya teman-teman ya, jadi itu akreditasi internasional dari Inggris, dari United Kingdom. Jadi setelah ini teman-teman pasti akan banyak sekali exposure untuk program-program internasional begitu. Oke, Ana, please answer the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the very interesting questions. I'm going to start with the obstacles that some of our students face. So for example, the language is one of the obstacles because here we speak Spanish. And for example, for the medical students who practice in hospitals, they challenge a little bit with the vocabulary, with the professional medical vocabulary, because it changes a lot, obviously. So in this, in order to help them with this language barrier, we gather some students who speak English and help the international students with different conversation clubs in order to teach them different vocabulary and solve questions about the language in general. And we also provide a Spanish learning course, a basic Spanish learning course during their whole stay with us. This has been one of the challenges. Also, adapting to the culture, getting to know the Colombian ways, for example. Maybe they don't understand some expressions or some behaviors. And this is why we conduct some pre-departure sessions with students before they come to Colombia, in order for us to teach them about our culture and basically give them some tools. So for example, if you're facing a situation that you don't understand, you can tell if the person you're talking to is feeling uncomfortable or surprised by what you said. So ask them, like we provide some behavioral and communicational tools in order for them to solve the problems themselves. But also we do a weekly check-in meeting in which we, as international office, ask the student about the program, about the academic part, but also the personal part. How are they feeling? How are they managing this adaptation process? Are they feeling comfortable where they are living? Are they feeling comfortable at campus? So we try to talk about all of the areas that that influence the program, not only the academic, but also personal, interpersonal, cultural, language. And we do these weekly meetings with them. And if there's something that we can do, well, we would reach out to the people involved in the situation in order to help them. And also the university at Student Services has psychological support. So if the student would require to talk to a professional clinical psychologist, they would have the chance to do it for free during their stay in Colombia. And regarding the requirements, well, first, it's important for us to have a cooperation agreement, international cooperation agreement between both institutions. Especially for our medical school, they don't do exchanges or programs with institutions without this formal agreement. And our requirements are very flexible because we want to welcome as many students as possible. So we would, as in terms of documents, we would require their CV, a motivational or presentation letter. We would require a transcript of their academic performance, and they would have to be, at the time of the mobility, they would have to have course already half of their program, and we require at least a basic level of Spanish, since all of our activities are in Spanish. But basically that's it. It also depends on the programs. For example, for the medical school, the requirements are a little bit more specific. For example, if they're going to do clinical rotations, for example, in pediatrics, they must already have known all the theoretical component about pediatrics. So there are also some academic requirements, but this is it. And for example, if you come for less than 3 months, you wouldn't require a visa, which is very flexible, I think, very great in order to welcome more students.
Okay, thank you, Ana. Teman-teman, saya akan translate satu highlight penting ya dari jawaban Ana ya. Jadi tadi Ana sharing bahwa satu syarat paling penting untuk kita bisa menjadi international students, yang pertama adalah punya basic skill untuk local language-nya mereka ya teman-teman ya. Jadi basic skill untuk bahasa lokalnya mereka. Jadi mau teman-teman misal mau ke negara yang menggunakan bahasa Spanyol atau mungkin bahasa Prancis, negara manapun yang itu bukan bahasa Inggris ya teman-teman ya, native language-nya, berarti kita harus sebisa mungkin belajar dari sekarang ya teman-teman ya. Kemudian yang kedua, satu hal yang dapat membantu kita untuk membaca budaya. Itu yang pertama, kita belajar culture-nya mereka dari verbal dan non-verbal expression, teman-teman. Apalagi orang Spanyol ini sangat ekspresif ya. Jadi saya rasa ini sangat menarik untuk dipelajari. So Anna, I was just telling the students that Spanish people are very expressive in
Yes.
terms of the non-verbal and also the words expression. So I was just telling them that one of the way to learn about culture is actually learning from the verbal and non-verbal expression, because it's actually helps a lot. So anyway, we have another 3 questions from the students. Miss Siva, thank you very much for your question earlier. We'll proceed to the next question coming from
Miss Octave, and also thank you, Anna. You are such really a great ambassador to your uni and also your country, because I think now everybody wants to come to your university and also your country, learning your culture. Thank you, Anna.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. You're all welcome here.
Okay, thank you, Miss Siva. We have four students wanting to ask questions. Okay, so we're moving to Septia first. Septia mau langsung tanya ya, pakai mic ya?
Iya, Bu.
Oke, silakan.
Hello, good Sunday morning. To Miss Anna Maria Camargo, I want to ask, I'm from Indonesia, and what should I do if I had a culture shock with my country destination for study, and is it normal to have culture shock, and how can we face it? Just that's
Great.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Septia, for your
Septia.
question.
Anna, just 1 second, just to translate, teman-teman. Tadi Septia nanya pertanyaan penting tentang culture shock ya. Apakah itu normal untuk kita memiliki culture shock di negara luar yang kita pilih sebagai negara tujuan, dan bagaimana cara kita untuk menghadapi culture shock? Okay, Anna, please, you can answer that question.
Okay, so this question is very interesting because culture shock, it's even considered one of the steps in order to adapt to a different culture. So yes, I do think that culture shock it's experienced by many people who live in different cultures. Even within the same country, if you move to a different city, you would find cultural differences and feel this and experience this culture shock. So psychologically speaking, for example, you can try to implement some mindful and different emotional, wait, how do I say this in English? Sorry. Like how to manage your emotions, right? Because a culture shock implies, for example, fear, implies sadness, implies even anger. So first, I think it's important to manage this emotion within yourself and also reach out to your network. Because during this culture adaptation process, other people are key. So reach out to your peers, reach out to people who you feel confident talking about this experience or these feelings that you're going through. And also reach out to the university. Universities usually have student services with professional and trained psychologists or counselors that you can talk to. So my advice is not to keep the situation for yourself, but try to reach out to others. Because yes, culture shock is experienced quite commonly, but also try to reach out. In my previous job, we do this type of intercultural training to students, and we would call this person your cultural ambassador or your cultural reference. So maybe try to reach out to someone from that nationality, explain these different situations that you don't understand, that you feel so shocked about, and try to understand from that culture's perspective what is going on. So for example, I'm just going to put an example, a very short example. When I was a host family, my dad used to think that the Thai student was afraid of him because she wouldn't look at him in the eye. So in her culture, not looking in the eye to adults is a sign of respect. But in our Colombian culture, if you don't look people in the eye, is quite rude. So we as a family talked about the situation and explained to her what this behavior means to us. She explained what it means to her in her culture, and we find a way to live together and understand each other. So also try to understand these different behaviors, because maybe it's a cultural situation that you can understand if you stand from the other culture's point of view. Was it clear?
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm talking a lot.
it's a really great answer, actually. I will just translate one part about the culture experience you have with the Thai students to my students here. Jadi teman-teman, satu pengalaman menarik ya yang tadi Ana sharingkan adalah culture shock yang Ana alami ketika memiliki student menghosting student dari Thailand ya. Jadi ketika murid dari Thailand itu tinggal di rumahnya Ana, dan dia ketika berbicara dengan ayahnya Ana itu tidak melihat ke mata, dan ayahnya Ana mengira murid dari Thailand ini ya takut gitu sama ayahnya si Ana. Tapi ternyata kalau dari culture Thailand, kita ketika berbicara ke orang tua, orang yang lebih dewasa, tidak melihat ke mata langsung, itu sebenarnya sign of respect ya untuk orang tua tersebut. Tapi di Spanish culture, kalau kita bicara dengan orang tua tidak melihat langsung ke mata, itu artinya sama dengan tidak sopan ya teman-teman ya. Jadi memang itu salah satu contoh nonverbal yang menurut saya kecil tapi impact-nya cukup luar biasa ya teman-teman ya. Oke, Ana, thank you so much. Septia, thank you. We will proceed to the next question. We have.
Thank you so much, Bu Oktif. Thank you so much, Miss Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay, Aisyah.
Sunday morning.
Oops. Okay, just 1 second. Oke, Aisyah, bisa silakan langsung ditanyakan pertanyaannya.
Oh, ini udah nyala ya, Bu ya?
Iya, sudah.
Firstly, thank you, Miss Anna, for your great presentation. That's so interesting. And I'm not good in English, so I will just ask in Indonesian. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No, it's okay.
Ya, pertanyaan saya soal yang ini Bu, yang skill needed to work in international education yang tadi, itu kan ada beberapa poin kayak client service dan semacamnya. Kalau semisal kita tuh nggak punya salah satu dari yang macam-macam itu, atau mungkin kita cuma punya satu atau dua dari skill tersebut, tapi kita tuh mau belajar gitu loh Bu, kayak kita tuh mau berusaha, kita ingin mengembangkan diri kita, tapi sambil berjalan. Itu bisa nggak sih? Atau mungkin harus punya semua dulu, baru bisa berjalan gitu Bu. Terima kasih.
Okay. Terima kasih, Aisyah. So, Anna, Aisyah is asking about your intercultural competence. I think there were 5 or 6 on your presentation. So, Aisyah was asking, what happens when someone wants to interact with international environment, but they don't have those complete competence yet? Like, for example, they only have 2. Like, what happens? Like, is it going to make the interaction still effective, or you should have those 5 competencies in advance?
Okay, this is a very good question. This is just what I think, this is my perspective, based on my professional experience and also my personal experiences living abroad and living with international students. This is not a rule. These are just some skills that I consider to help in order to work in this international field, but are not specifically, and how do I say, it's not like the requirement, the specific requirement. It helps because, as I said, this field is quite changing, it's quite challenging. Every day there are different problems to solve. So also, as you perform this job, you will acquire the skills. So also how I understand competencies is that you will develop them through life and through your experiences. So please don't take this as the rule, like if you don't have these competencies, you can't work in this field. That is not the case. These are just examples of different competencies that can help you do this job effectively, but also definitely skills that you can develop by working in this field. For example, I used to be very close-minded, and if I had a plan A, B, C, D, I would follow the plan A, B, C, D. But this challenging field has made me more flexible. So I know that plans can change, different situations that are out of my hand can appear from one moment to another, and I have to adapt in order to solve them. So this field has also shaped me in different ways. So please don't worry if you feel and if you consider that you don't have these skills, don't worry, because they are acquirable. They can be developed through all of your life, basically.
Thank you, Ana. Aisyah, bisa ditranslate coba. Apa yang Aisyah dapatkan dari jawabannya Ana? Nanti saya bantu tambahin.
Kalau dari sepengerti saya, Bu, kalau sepengerti saya, itu bukan aturannya. Jadi maksudnya sebisanya itu. Gitu nggak sih, Bu? Kayak semacam itu.
Ya, dan juga itu proses ya Aisyah dan teman-teman ya. Jadi ketika kita masuk ke interaksi internasional, kita akan melengkapi kompetensi itu dengan sejalannya waktu. Jadi memang itu bukan rules dan kita masih punya waktu untuk belajar juga supaya dapat kompetensi itu. Gitu ya Aisyah ya.
Oke, terima kasih Bu.
Thank you
Thank you,
Aisyah.
Miss Ana.
Next, I'm going to invite Miss Ade. So Miss Ade is a lecturer for the other cross-cultural communication class. So okay, wait. Let me change this spotlight. Wait. Okay. Hello, Miss Ade.
Hello, Ms. Afif.
Okay.
Thank you for your exciting presentation, especially for students who are interested participating in international program. Yes, I agree with Ms. Anna said that adaptability is one of the skill needed in the global era, especially for international students and also I think for the professional worker. My question is, how have students in Colombia adapted to the highly dynamic development of culture, I mean popular culture, before and or during the pandemic? And also, how are their efforts to adapt to the presence of international students that come to their campus in Colombia? Okay.
Thank you. No, thank you, Miss, for the question. So adaptability is quite challenging because I think that is a general feeling for everybody, like regardless of their culture, maybe to change their thoughts or change their plans. It's quite challenging for humans in general to adapt. So adaptation requires a whole process. It requires to accept the new situation and create new activities and processes in order to adapt, if this makes any sense, sorry. So during the pandemic, for our students was very hard because, as I said, most of them are medical students or nursing students, which had to stop their practices in hospitals, in clinics, since a very early point of their careers. They must go to the clinics and the hospitals in order to learn. Some of the classes are with the patients. So this was quite challenging in order to do all this virtually. So professors had to be very creative in order to create these practice scenarios online. So they had to learn about different tools, online tools, programs. They even created simulation, patient simulation softwares in order for students to learn. And we also created different online programs which were very successful in the international area. So we created some research internships online in which students will collect and analyze data online and participate in online classes. For example, regarding sustainable development goals, students would research about in their countries and in Colombia, and they will compare how these health indicators are being fulfilled or not. So we had to be creative and use online platforms in order to generate international connection. We also created challenges with professors and students from different universities. And for example, they would select one lecture, for example, in the nursing school, and both professors would create challenges from students from both institutions to solve online and create projects about it. So it took some time because adaptation takes time, but nowadays that the presence on campus is being resumed, we still want to continue with these virtual projects because it's also more easy, and even the university will spend less money in these virtual projects than in comparison if we bring students to campus. So we want to continue these virtual projects, and it would be part of the adaptation of going back to campus in order to continue with virtual activities. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Miss Anna. I think it is interesting situation in Colombia, yeah? Even though the pandemic is still more, the student and the lecturer is still more productive for a cross-cultural with collaboration. So that's interesting situation. Okay, thank you, Miss Anna.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ade. Teman-teman, satu highlight penting dari jawaban Ana ya, tadi Ana menjelaskan di awal bahwa kunci dari adaptasi di international environment itu sebenarnya kreativitas ya, teman-teman ya. Jadi mungkin kita ngerasa apa sih cuma adaptasi gitu, tapi ternyata core-nya adaptasi itu kreativitas ya, teman-teman ya. Jadi kalau teman-teman melihat ini ada temannya atau siapapun itu pintar adaptasi, berarti dia itu sebenarnya orang yang kreatif. Nah, itu bisa dipelajari di situ ya, teman-teman, kalau kita mau belajar mengenai social interaction. Bu Ade mungkin ada tambahan untuk dijelaskan ke teman-teman dari jawaban Ana tadi?
Oke, mungkin menambahkan sedikit dari yang disampaikan Bu Oktif, bahwa memang ya sebenarnya sama juga dengan kita ya teman-teman ya, kalau masa pandemi itu tidak menghalangi kita untuk bisa belajar dan juga berkreativitas tuh kan. Justru malah yang menarik adalah di sini dari pengalaman dari student dan juga dosen-dosen di Kolombia bahwa ketika di masa pandemi ini malah mereka bisa membuat kolaborasi riset gitu kan, bagaimana kondisi di negara mereka masing-masing, bagaimana kondisi di Kolombia. Jadi kolaborasi riset yang cukup menarik yang pada akhirnya bisa dihasilkan meskipun pandemi gitu. Jadi membuat studi kasus gitu kali ya, membuat studi kasus tentang kolaborasi riset di daerah di negara aslinya mahasiswa yang international student tadi dan juga di Kolombia. Dan itu menurut saya satu hal yang menarik, mereka bisa mengambil peluang di masa pandemi, tetap produktif, tetap melakukan riset, dan memang itu yang harus dilakukan oleh dalam akademis ya, dalam universitas ya, mungkin seperti itu. Itu sih mungkin tambahannya Bu Aktif.
Terima kasih Bu Ade. Oke, next Yunas.
Ya Bu, saya langsung tanya Bu.
Ya, silahkan Yunas.
Good morning Miss Anna Maria Camargo. I have a question for Miss Anna. In the PPT about 5 skills needed, apart from the 5 required things, what other factor are need to work in international education? Gimana ya? I mean, Mrs. Anna said about skill needed to work on education national. What other 10 to 5 factor, maybe environment, or from around him, maybe local culture-nya gitu.
So, for example,
Yeah.
you're talking about experience required, for example?
So Anna, I think he wants to know like what other competencies that might be placed on the 6th or 7th or 8th, 9 and 10 after those competencies that you put on the presentation. Like, is there anything else other than that?
Maybe local culture.
Yeah. Okay, so for example, language skills, because as we interact with people from different countries who speak different languages, it's important to speak English in order to create these alliances, projects, and programs. So definitely language is required or needed. Maybe also project management, since the international field is moving forward and not only creating mobility programs, we are also creating projects in which students will actively participate. And this will require some budget management, some monitoring and evaluation rubrics. So maybe some knowledge about project management is required. And most of my colleagues come from an international relations background. I don't, but it also helps. And I think this is it. It's not a very closed field, because it also looks for individuals who are interested and passionate about internationalization, intercultural communication. So if you have also this type of experiences yourself, personal experiences, for example, if you have lived abroad, or if you have any type of intercultural experience, this can also help, not only in the professional field, but also in the personal field, which is how I got here. As I said, my profession, my bachelor's degree is not in the international field, but I had these experiences myself. I had lived in England. I received a Thai student in my home, which is a completely international situation that you live for yourself. I was also a volunteer in an international NGO. So having this type of experiences can also be very useful in your CVs if you're trying to enter this international education world.
Okay, thank you so much, Ana. So teman-teman, dari pertanyaan Yunus tadi ya, jadi Yunus kan menanyakan kira-kira kompetensi apa lagi selain dari 5 kompetensi yang Ana sudah jabarkan. Salah satu kompetensi yang teman-teman bisa dapatkan itu mulai dari sekarang aktif untuk ikut international volunteering ya, teman-teman ya. Jadi kalau misal ada teaching English biasanya di negara, memang bukan negara kalau kita muluk-muluk pengen ke Eropa atau ke Inggris atau ke Amerika gitu, jarang ya teman-teman ya, karena mereka sudah menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Jadi kalau kita mau teaching English nggak mungkin ke sana gitu. Jadi biasanya kalau kita mau volunteering untuk teaching English itu justru di negara seperti Thailand, Vietnam, Bangladesh, Kamboja, Philippines, itu justru ini ya teman-teman ya, banyak pembelajarannya. Jadi teman-teman kalau misal ada opportunity gitu volunteering teaching English di negara berkembang, jangan di look down ya teman-teman ya, jangan disepelekan, alah apa sih cuma Thailand, alah apa sih cuma ini Kamboja, jangan gitu ya teman-teman ya. Karena di seumuran teman-teman ini kadang biasanya yang dilihat itu prestis negaranya, bukan prestis experience-nya teman-teman. Nah itu mindset-nya bisa mulai dibenerin dari sekarang kalau kita pengen belajar cross-cultural communication ya. Oke, kita ada, so Anna, we have 2 more questions from the students.
Okay.
Nabil, tunggu sebentar ya, ladies first ya, Nabil. Juliana, bisa silahkan.
Yeah, hello, good morning or maybe evening at yours, Miss Anna.
Hi.
So I want to ask, how do you or maybe your campus give the student or the teacher about the culture knowledge that happen in the country, your destination country? Because sometimes basic things in internet is slightly different and or maybe very different in real life. So how you guys there give the student basic knowledge about that, and for how long? Just that. Thank you.
Okay, so how do we provide information about our country and our culture for students? Yes, okay. So we conduct 2 or 3, it depends on each student, but 2 or 3 meetings before they arrive to Colombia. In these meetings, we will explain even basic things about the country, like the currency and the location, the weather, stuff like this. And also we would set examples about common situations that students would experience in Colombia and explain culturally why this happens. So for example, we greet peers by kissing in the cheek. So this might be shocking for other students at first. So we would explain these type of situations like greetings, how to say thank you, how to communicate and relate to professors, because this type of hierarchy relations might change culturally. So we would explain how to relate to professors, how to relate with other students, even how does the health system or transport system works in our country. So we would mix with information about the country itself with cultural and behavioral information. I like to put examples, as you have seen, about situations, because I think this is how I can teach more easy to students, and they can relate to situations that other students have lived before. So I would put a lot of different examples of situations. I don't know if this answers your question.
Sorry, answer my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to proceed directly to the next question, Nabil.
Yeah. Good morning, Miss Octave. Good morning, everybody. And also, hola, Miss Ana. ¿Cómo está? I
Muy
hope
bien, muchas
my
gracias.
Spanish language is correct. It's kind
It's
of
very
rusty.
good.
So, first of all, I would like to say from your previous presentation and your first answer from the Ms. Shiva question is, I agree with you that language barrier is one of the main cause for students unable to participate or communicate properly with others. However, I believe that someone might actually understand foreign language passively. And what I mean in passively is they just won't speak or they don't communicate properly because they are afraid or might be nervous because some reasons. That's the reception from the presentation. And now I would like to ask another question. So how do local people in this context is the Colombian people reacted to foreign people like us from Southeast Asia coming to their country? Because I believe sometimes local people doesn't like foreign people, especially during these hard times where Asians people subject to hate crimes, racism, and violence. I'm sorry if I spoke too much. I spoke too long. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, it's totally fine. So first of all, thank you very much for your appreciation as a student, because this is very valuable for me. I am very interested in getting to know students' opinions and perspectives, and I will definitely take it into account in order to apply it for my job and my students. Thank you very much. And regarding your question, here in Colombia, exchange students are highly welcome, regardless of the country. If people in the street, local people, see that physically the person doesn't look Colombian, they will reach out, even if they don't know the person. Colombians are very welcoming. We are very touchy. We hug each other. We are in constant physical contact. So people will reach out, greet you in the street, ask where are you from, want to take pictures with you. So Colombia is a very welcoming country for foreign people. And at campus, during the first days, students will reach out to the student, to the international student. They want to take them out to dinner. They would want to take them to the house to meet their parents. So it's a very welcoming culture, generally speaking. So if you are motivated to come to Colombia, please do. You will feel at home, and Colombians will make you feel comfortable and at home.
Thank you so much, Ana. Nabil, terjawab ya pertanyaannya ya?
Ya, udah terjawab.
Ya, jadi menambah ya.
Yes, Ana.
Ya, menambah sedikit ya teman-teman ya. Jadi memang salah satu budaya Amerika Latin itu mereka banyak sekali orang-orang yang hangat ya teman-teman ya, karena itu salah satu budayanya mereka. Jadi 11-12 seperti orang Indonesia ya teman-teman ya. Well, Ana, just one more question from the students. She's asking me from a Zoom chat. Still related to the culture of education in Colombia, especially at your university. She's asking, like, what is the disciplinary culture in Colombia at Juan Corpas University? Because in Indonesia, she was like mentioning one of the thing that we are struggling is the punctuality of the time management. So Ellen masih di sini. So, okay. So Alan is asking, what is the disciplinary culture is like in Colombia in terms of education?
Okay, that's a very good question. My institution, Juan and Corpas institution, is quite strict regarding discipline because students are enhanced and motivated to respect others regardless of their age, of their religion, or their social status. So how do I say this? Like bad behaviors are quite, I don't want to say punished because there is not a punishment, but are not welcome at campus. Students are motivated to be very empathetic with others, compassionate, provide a good service to others. And this applies also for professors. So the teacher-student relation is very polite, but also quite, how do I say this, like paternal. Professors and academics are quite,
they like to act like as parents too.
Yes, exactly. So they would understand if the student is struggling personally. They would reach out to the student and be very careful. And this is not common, I must say. This is not common in Colombia, but it is common in this institution for students to be taken care of by academics and professors. So for example, I know a student that is struggling with some mental health issues, and the dean from her school is very understanding. They don't fail their student if she doesn't present on time the papers, if she's having an episode of depression, for example. So it's very understanding, it's very welcoming. They treat students very, as a family, I must say. But there are also strict rules. For example, punctuality. Students must connect on time to the classes. There's a dress code. We all have to dress professionally. These are the type of rules, but in terms of behaviors and relations, it is a very close environment, very like a familiar environment.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna. Ellen bisa on cam sebentar?
Maaf Bu, ini
Oke, nggak bisa ya?
sinyalnya.
Okay. Okay, just wait 1 second. Okay, so I think we have, that was the last questions, Anna, for today. Hopefully, Bu Ade, we can have international collaboration and partnership with Juan Corpas University after this. And if we have the opportunity, we would like to invite you as well in the future. Having you physically here in Surabaya with us, that would be one of the things that we're looking forward to, hopefully. Or we can be the one who visit you in Colombia, in Bogota, Bu Ade.
Definitely.
I will learn how to speak Spanish from today.
So and I will learn your language as well.
Finger crossed next year, Anna. Bu Ade, tadi kita kedatangan Pak Kus juga ya?
Ada Pak Kus, kemudian Pak Kus selamat pagi, sudah hadir dari awal tadi ya Pak. Terima kasih Pak. Kemudian dari Bu Siva juga ya.
Yes, so Anna, so we have Pak Kus. He's one of our senior lecturer at our communication program study. So he's been joining us since the morning, actually. So we have 4 lecturers joining your class today.
Wow, what an honor.
Yes, with more than 200 students coming just to see you this morning at 7 a.m.
Wow,
So,
it's such an honor. Thank you very much for inviting me. I enjoyed very much this session, meeting you all. Your questions were very thought-provoking and interesting. I hope that we can collaborate in the near future. And please contact me if you have any more questions. I'm happy to connect with you and solve your questions.
thank you so much, Anna, for having us. Teman-teman bisa dinyalakan videonya, kita akan foto bersama dulu ya. So Anna, before we close this class, we would like to have a proper screenshot with you
Yes.
and the other students as well. Oke, teman-teman ini ada 9 slides ya. Jadi semuanya bisa ditahan senyumnya sampai 1 jam ke depan ya. Sambil saya screenshot dulu satu-satu. Oke, yang masih benerin kerudung bisa. Oke, 1, 2, 3. Oke, bentar ya teman-teman ya. Oke, 1, 2. Oke. Bentar ya teman-teman, masih kurang 5 slide lagi, saya foto dulu sebentar. Bentar. Oke, sebentar. Anna, maybe wait. Before we end today and call it a day, is there any closing statement you would like to encourage our students, or any I don't know, like any kind of thoughts that might motivate them to keep learning on sharpening their cross-cultural communication?
Yes, definitely. I would like to motivate you to participate in any type of intercultural or international opportunity that your university provides, or even look for other type of opportunities, maybe volunteering, because it's very rewarding. You can shape more and acquire more skills. Having this opportunity to move out of your comfort zone and try to understand life from a different point of view, which is a different culture, can be very fulfilling. It can broaden the way you see the world, the way you live your own life, and it can maybe open to different professional opportunities. So these international or intercultural experiences are very rewarding for you personally, interpersonally, professionally, academically, in any type of your life, any type of area of your life. This is a very rewarding opportunity. So if you have the chance to live abroad or to participate in an international project, please do, because there are more benefits than the fears you might experience.
Thank you so much, Anna. Highlight penting ya, teman-teman ya. Lebih banyak keuntungannya daripada effort untuk ngelawan ketakutannya. Jadi teman-teman yang apalagi yang merasa bahasa Inggrisnya jelek, apa nggak bisa, nggak ngerti, jangan gitu dulu ya, teman-teman ya. Oke, so Anna, thank you so much, teman-teman. Silahkan mic-nya bisa dinyalakan. Kita sama-sama bilang ke Anna, muchas gracias Miss Anna. Is that right, Anna? Is it muchas?
Yes, it
Muchas
was
gracias, right?
perfect.
Oke, teman-teman, ayo sama-sama kita bilang muchas gracias, Miss Anna.
Muchas gracias,
Muchas gracias, Miss Anna.
This is lovely. Thank you all very much. It's
Thank
an
you.
honor.
Thank
It's
you
an
so
honor
much, Anna.
Pleasure.
Oke, thank you so much, Anna. Terima kasih, teman-teman ya. Kita akhiri kelas hari ini. Selamat berhari Minggu. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Anna. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank
Okay,
you. Have
very
a good
much. Have a good
Saturday
day.
night.
so much.
Anna.
Bye.
Bye.
Bom dia.